Hello, hello. Chase the Traveler in the house again with a new episode. So today, I've been doing some thinking. I've been thinking about 2025. I've been thinking about the future. I've been thinking about the places I'd like to go to. And honestly, I think I want to go to India. I think I need to visit Africa. I think I need to go, you know something? I shouldn't say Africa because there are 54 countries over there. I think I need to go and visit a few countries over there because honestly, I don't think that we understand this world unless we go to all the different continents. Unless we go to all the different countries out there, we're definitely not going to understand anything because we could watch the news, we could watch programs on India, Africa, Europe, Asia. We won't understand it because they're just giving us a piece. They're not giving us the whole story. And I understand that just by living in Japan. And of course, I definitely want to see the world and see exactly what's out there. And honestly, Japan was definitely good to a certain degree. Japan is definitely an interesting place. I definitely think I grew quite a bit living in Japan. I learned quite a bit living in Japan. And I continue to learn living in Japan. But I think that I need to go to another place in order to learn some more. I mean, I was in South America. I enjoyed South America. I felt comfortable. I went to Brazil. I liked Brazil. Of course, I felt comfortable, but I also felt uncomfortable at certain points. Now, I was in Paraguay. I felt comfortable, but I also felt uncomfortable. Actually, I felt more comfortable than I did uncomfortable. And the reason that I felt uncomfortable in certain of these South American countries was the fact that I couldn't speak the language like I was supposed to. I also felt that these South American countries were a little underrated. But I also went to Colombia, the land of Pablo Escobar. And I was shocked because most of the people over there seemed natural. It was totally different than what I had imagined. And I'm back in Japan. And I feel like not only do I need to go to South America again, but I think that, I need to go to different places. I need to go to India. I heard that country's rising. Definitely want to go to a couple of countries in Africa because most of the stories that I've heard have been from people from other countries talking about Africa. So I think it's important for me to go over there and have a look. I mean, I left Africa 400 years ago. At least my DNA left. Haven't been back since. It's time for me to go have a look. Indeed. So anyway, like I was saying, I think it's time for me to travel. I think it's time for me to go elsewhere to see what's going on out there. Now, of course, Japan is definitely an interesting place. I think Japan is first and foremost a place where people come to learn. Especially, I think the things that you got to learn in Japan are the way that they do business, how they do business. But there's one thing about the Japanese and the way that they do business is that the Japanese don't deviate. They don't really like doing things that that doesn't have like a long history. So change doesn't come here very quickly, very fast. And because they can't pivot really quickly, you have countries like China, countries like Korea, that are kind of like forging ahead and leaving the Japanese behind. And it's because they don't change quickly. But their business model, I think, is very good, and I think people should learn from that, especially when it comes to construction. The way they put their buildings up, people from other countries should come over here and learn how they do that. The small businesses, the way they set up their small businesses, the way they, the model that they have in terms of like how they start businesses, people could learn from that. But they have to expand on what the Japanese people do. They can't just like do what the Japanese people do and just not change. Because again, in Japan, things don't change over here. Even though they did a lot of changing in the past, especially after the war. But I think after the 80s, after they had their little bit of success, they're not changing anymore. They don't want to deviate from what they've done. And that hurts them. So anyway, yeah, I think it's time for me to move. It's time for me to head on out. Time for me to see something new, experience new things again. And of course, experiencing Japan was definitely good, was definitely interesting, was definitely an experience. But I think I need a new experience. I think I need a new adventure. And I think that there are a lot of exciting things out there that I just don't know about, that I need to learn about. I mean, the coffee in Colombia was good. The food in Paraguay was excellent. Dulce de leche in Brazil was superb. I mean, honestly, Brazil wasn't exactly everything that I had imagined. It was definitely different. I'm not saying that in a bad way, in a good way, and it was good. I mean, I didn't go to every single place, every single area in Brazil. But I definitely learned that when I was a kid growing up, America was supposed to be way up here. Brazil was like down here. But when I visited Brazil, I see Brazil coming up and going up. I see the potential in Brazil. I see the potential in Colombia. I see the potential in Paraguay. So I'm pretty sure that there's potential in a lot of other countries that people are just not looking at. People just refuse to see. But either way, I'm glad that I went. I think I need to go back. And I also need to experience other things. Now, Japan, of course, is very, 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 very interesting. It's very, very nice. I like that lady was looking at me in there, so I had to look and wave. In Japan, there's always somebody watching you. There is no privacy. You might think that you're alone, but you're never alone. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just saying that don't ever fart over here. There's somebody listening. There's somebody watching you. Either way, I do enjoy. One thing that I can tell you is that in Japan, I kind of feel very, very comfortable sometimes. I mean, they tell you about how safe it is, blah, 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 blah. So now I'm sitting over here with this camera. I'm not afraid of anything. But of course, in South America, you're kind of like, you're like looking around. You're like making sure everything is okay. And it's not because of anything anybody's done, it's because of what people have told you. So you're like constantly on guard, constantly on alert. And you know, in Japan, the thing about Japan and these other countries is that everything works. Pretty much everything is very, very predictable. People tell you they're going to be there at 1 o'clock, they're there at 1 o'clock. Usually in places like South America, things aren't that predictable. So if people tell you that they're going to be there at 1 o'clock, they might not show up. But hey, it's not that big a deal. So what I'm saying is that I definitely feel that I'm ready to go back out again, and I'm ready to see the world, but I'm not sure exactly where I should go. I mean, I'm still thinking about that, where I should go, I don't know, how I should go, etc., etc., etc. But if you have any ideas of which country I should visit, let me know. I mean, some people have said that I should go to Germany. Some people have said that, maybe I should go to England. When I was in my early 20s, England is a place where I definitely felt I wanted to go to. Some people have said that I should visit, what's that other place? Italy. But those places are kind of like, I don't know, everybody's talking about those places. And I feel like those places are oversaturated with foreigners, so I'm not sure it's the place for me. But hey, I do like Italian food. So, either way, I definitely do think that it's time for me to head on out. But sometimes it's a little scary because I feel like I know Japan way more than I know any other place. Sometimes I feel like I know Japan more than the Japanese know Japan. Sometimes I feel like I've been here too long. When the Japanese ask me how long I've been here, I usually say about 5 years. If I say more than that, people are like shocked. People are like surprised. So anyway, it's cold these days. Almost freezing. But anyway, it's just a normal day in Japan. So, I'm walking through this parking lot. You can't buy a car in Japan unless you have parking. Whether it's in front of your house, you need some type of receipt, or else you're not walking out of the dealership with the car. Oops, almost fell. Goodness. It's what happens when you're always looking at the camera. Look at the cars that the Japanese drive. Most of them are small. I mean, I guess you pay 500 yen for an hour. That's like $2.50 to park here for an hour. $3 to $4 if you park for 2 hours. $8 if you park for the day, I think. Well, that's what it says. No. Probably around 7. Would I buy a car in Japan? No, I don't think so. Some foreigners do, but I myself, I don't think it's worth it. I don't think it's necessary. Don't think it's that convenient, because wherever you go, you have to have parking. Finding parking is inconvenient. Oh, goodness. One thing about Japan is they don't like foreigners filming them. They really understand the power of image. It's like everybody that's in their car looking at me, filming myself, filming them, are like giving me dirty looks. But they love filming people from other countries. And they love going to other countries filming people. But they don't like you filming them. Japan's a funny place sometimes. And I kind of have to adjust myself. There is no privilege when you're filming the Japanese people. And I kind of, a lot of these, I see some YouTubers out there, some foreign YouTubers interviewing Japanese people on the street. Man, that takes a lot of energy. A lot of energy. And I'm not sure how they approach the Japanese people to do that, but I know, no, I think I've got to go this way. I know it's not as easy as it looks. Sometimes I feel like they're paying them, but again, I don't know. I'm not 100% sure, but I just have an idea. So, today I'm going off in a whole different direction. I'm rambling a little bit, but hey, sometimes you got to do that. Sometimes you have to just go without a script. And that's what's going on today. So yes, it's time for me to head on out. It's time for me to do something or go somewhere new. And experience some new cultures and see what they're like. See or find the new up-and-coming Japan. I'm pretty sure that there's a country out there right now that I should go to that's experiencing some growth, where things are like what they were decades ago in Japan. There's got to be a place like that. And of course, I think I'm going to find it. And I think that within 1 or 2 years, I'm definitely going to find a place that's right for me. I'm definitely going to find the place that I feel I belong. I'm not sure where it's going to be though, but it's definitely going to be somewhere on this planet. And the more and more I travel, the more I go to different places, the more I understand where that place will be. And I encourage everybody to go out there and look around, see what's going on. Because just because there's a certain image about a certain country doesn't mean it's true. Just because the image is bad doesn't mean it really is bad, or the people there are bad, or your experience is necessarily going to be bad. Just because the image is good doesn't mean that your experience is going to be fantastic, wonderful, out of this world. Mo ikaw ite. She told me to speak Japanese. I told her to say it in English. No, I told her to say it again. See, like I said, everybody, there's always somebody looking at you. There's always somebody that's listening to you. You have to remember that in Japan there is no privacy. But like I said, images and everything, and visiting many, many different countries is a wonderful thing. And Japan has many wonderful things about it, but everything here isn't necessarily great, and this country might not suit you. So again, Chase the Traveler, coming to you from Japan, and see you again in the next episode.